Here's something we didn't expect. Daniel Ricciardo is being replaced with compatriot Oscar Piastri. Is that good for McLaren, or have they made a grave mistake? Let's find out. In today's video, we'll talk about how Piastri hopes his good relationship with Lando can write a new chapter for McLaren, and we'll also talk about how Zak Brown tried everything to not axe Ricciardo. Stay tuned until the end to learn all about it. First up, Piastri hopes that his relationship with Lando Norris can help improve McLaren. There's no easy way to say this, folks. McLaren, which is one of the most popular names in motorsport, is having a rough time in F1. The team currently stands 5th in the Constructors' Cup, 13 points behind their arch-rival Alpine. In the drivers' standings, the team stands 7th and 12th. The problem isn't even that the team is 5th, it's that Alpine is right ahead of them, because it's understandable to not be in the top 3 after all. You've got Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes there, but to be behind their French rivals is something that Zak Brown can't stomach. This is exactly why Daniel Ricciardo has been sacked by McLaren in favor of F2 champion Oscar Piastri. Now, Ricciardo is a darn good driver. No one's ever had any doubts about him, but he just can't seem to get along with the car. There's a major disconnect between the two, and as much as we love Ricciardo, we have to be real about this. McLaren didn't get their money's worth out of the guy. However, Oscar Piastri now feels that he can help the team out. He believes that his relationship with their current driver will help the team be better by 2023. The 21-year-old has stated that he's looking forward to working with Lando next year, but he's also not under any illusions about the Briton's position of strength inside the Woking-based team. Next up, will McLaren actually improve? Well, we can't say. We really can't. When they snatched Ricciardo away from Renault, everyone thought that this was the dawn of a new era, and the guy just didn't deliver. As far as Piastri is concerned, yes, he's a skilled driver, but he hasn't really driven in the big leagues, has he now? Yes, he won the F2 championship, but F1 is a whole different ballgame. On top of all that, McLaren has paid top dollar to end the Honey Badger's contract early. They even risked potential legal action from Alpine, who attempted to block Piastri's departure via the contract recognition board. Oh yeah, that happened. Don't you just love F1 summer breaks? In the end though, it was the French team that was forced to pay the cost. McLaren 1, Alpine 0. Now let's get back to our second favorite Aussie, Oscar. Piastri will be up against Norris, who has easily dominated Daniel during their 2-year tenure as teammates. Last year, he had the upper hand in the championship by a whopping 45 points. This season, the difference stands at 72 points, and with 4 races to go, it can still widen. And now that Norris is in his 4th full-time season, he's the undisputed king of Woking. Unfortunately for the young gun, this means that he's guaranteed to ensure one of the most heavily scrutinized rookie campaigns in years. Speaking to a podcast host, Piastri stated that he's walking into the team with his eyes wide open. Let's talk about everything else the Aussie stated. In this case, folks, when we say Aussie, we mean Piastri. We know, y'all are used to calling Danny Rick Aussie, but hey, he won't be on the grid next season, so get used to it. In the podcast, Piastri stated Norris is a very strong, very capable, and proven driver in F1, and that doesn't mean that he's intimidated by Norris. It just means that he's looking forward to being able to show what skills he has and how he's willing to learn things along the way. He acknowledged that his previous successes won't mean much, because once you've started racing in F1, everything else that you've done in the past doesn't matter. As all F1 fans know, you're only as good as your last race. And folks, it appears that the feelings are mutual. When Lando was talking to a major F1 news website, he stated he was definitely looking forward to working with his new teammate. When he was asked to further elaborate, the 22-year-old said, "I'm excited to work with someone else. I've had 2 very different drivers in my first few years in F1, so I always look forward to working with new people. I just hope that they're someone you can get along with." And while Piastri has a 4-year experience disadvantage to Lando, let's not forget that he's only 5 months younger, so there are similarities between the two. Maybe they can have a bromance that's as good as the Tsunoda-Gasly bromance. Finishing up on the relationship between the two, let's talk more about what the two future teammates said. The young Aussie stated he doesn't know Lando that well, and that he's looking forward to getting to know him both professionally and personally. The shocking part is, the two have only spoken to each other a handful of times, despite having many mutual friends. This comes as a big surprise, considering how similar their junior careers have been. However, the main thing is, Piastri is extremely confident that the two will work well together and bring the entire team toward the front of the group. Oscar is really going to need to learn how to be a team player, because chances are, now and then, he'll be asked to let Lando pass him. We all know how much drivers hate doing that. That doesn't mean he won't be under pressure though. He is going to be debuting for one of F1's most prestigious teams. McLaren is only second to Ferrari in terms of race wins, pole positions, and driver championships. The team declined in the last decade, but it seems like it's finally in the final stages of its rebuilding. Oh, and they have a new wind tunnel and simulator due to come in the next year as well. So things are finally looking up for Woking. With a 2-year deal under his belt, Piastri is ideally placed to capitalize on any gains that the team might make. He specifically stated that he's aware he's joining a team with great pedigree, and that excites him. Moving on, Zak Brown really tried everything before letting Ricciardo go. Let's stop talking about Piastri. After all, we have the entire next season to talk about him. Let's talk about our favorite Aussie of all time, Danny Ric. It's extremely sad to see his career go down like this. Like, come on. Have y'all seen how fun and charismatic he is off the track? We'll surely miss him and his stupid pranks. Now, it turns out Danny didn't leave for no reason. McLaren's boss really tried everything to make sure the partnership worked. But hey, it's F1. Doesn't matter how charming, funny, or handsome you are. If you're fast, you stay. If you're slow, you get the boot. Brown has spoken about this in depth, stating that he's hated that experience, and it also had to be the toughest thing he's faced in motorsport. The 50-year-old stated that he and McLaren ultimately felt like they had tried everything to help him catch up with his teammate, but after 1.5 seasons, they just ran out of solutions. Brown also stated that everyone has worked extremely hard, and Daniel is well loved at McLaren. He elaborated that he's fun to work with and is rarely ever a problem. It's just his drive that's not right for the team. At the end of the day, McLaren is in F1, and this sport is all about results. Nothing matters more than what's on that stopwatch. Nothing. And since it's all about results, and results just weren't coming in, the team felt it had no other choice but to sack Ricciardo. Lastly, it didn't have to be like this. It really didn't. Ricciardo won't be on the grid next year, and we're all going to miss him so darn much. But it really didn't have to be like this. He could have still been here despite it all, only if he opted for a lower drive. See, he only wanted to go to one of the better teams, and that won't happen. Red Bull won't have him because of the history. Alpine won't have him because, well, because of the history. Darn it, Danny, couldn't you leave on good terms? Mercedes and Ferrari have their driver lineups locked in long-term contracts. Then there's AlphaTauri, but those blokes just signed on De Vries. Alfa Romeo, a bottom mid-tier team, is also full. Aston Martin just signed Fernando Alonso to replace Vettel. That leaves us with Haas and Williams. Haas really wouldn't be a terrible option. Yes, they're underfunded, they keep crashing, and their car isn't really the best. But it's not the worst either, and it seems like the team is slowly but surely moving up. So we don't know why he doesn't just go there. The team principal is actually interested in him. Next up, we have Williams. But we won't wonder why he didn't go there. It's alright. We wouldn't want to be in a team like that either, because if he opts for Williams, he'll rarely ever be finishing inside the points. That's a wrap for this video. Do you guys think that the Lando-Oscar partnership will finally help McLaren enter the top 3? Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you at the next one.